So, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for coming to an evening of poetry at the Adriance Memorial Library. We meet the third Thursday of every month. Tonight, our feature is Marc Oppenheimer, and he is a landscaper, gardener by day, and a wordsmith by night. So, if you all help me in giving him a nice, warm Poughkeepsie welcome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I also garden at night sometimes too. Yeah, I'll just say something. I've been writing poems of one kind or another since I was a teenager. So that's like 40 years ago. And why do I do it? Sometimes it's just a lot of times it's just words come to mind, and underlying them coming to mind is just life working on you, life affecting me emotionally, primarily. And I think it seems that words end up coming often to help me clarify my mind, help me put the sort of swirl of emotions into some kind of resolution, some kind of package. So, and sometimes I write stuff because I feel like, I haven't written anything in a while, and I should, I should keep it going, keep the iron in the fire, so to speak. Anyway, sometimes what I write is just like little pieces that are like seeds that could grow into bigger poems, or at least that's how I used to think about these like shorter things that I would write. Like, I'll add something to that later. I'll build on that. But I don't know. Over time, I have gotten to the point where I sort of just like them. I like just a few words or just a few lines. And I don't want to really make them into a longer poem. I guess I had, some of the not that I've written anything super long, but the longer ones that I've written, I guess part of that was because I thought, a poem is supposed to be some kind, have some kind of length. I mean, or at least, that was probably an influence in my thoughts. But anyway, tonight, because of all the snow, I ended up spending more time working on snow and less on putting together my sort of plan for tonight. So I'm going to just roll along here and see where it goes. So some of them will be shorter things and some still short but not as short. And so there's one I wanted to start with. I'm sorry about this. Hold on just a second here. Where are you? It's called Welcome Aboard, and I pretty much know it by heart, but I've rewritten it, parts of it. So I ended up writing it down so that I would have, there it is, on the back of the one right on top. So I've rewritten this a number of times. I don't end up liking all of my poems over time. A lot of things I kind of grow out of, but this one has been in my life for a while, and I've rewritten it a few times just to make it feel more authentic to me now. This one's called Welcome Aboard. Pushed out of the womb and into the room. Welcome to where we all die. These are hard times. The world is at war, blind to the eye in the sky. While you are here, be sure to make time to give it all a deep think. Here at sea in the dark, in the land of the shark, sail smart, don't fall in the drink. And don't get marooned on the isles of mood bad, swept in by the foamy white tide. Head hard for the homeland, ride winds of wisdom, illusion's birth best given wide. And if there be pirates and crew that betray you, to your soul's course stay true. The voice in your heart is the ultimate compass, here where you're just passing through. So that's an old one, kind of tuned up recently. Here's something I wrote recently. I don't even know what category. I'm not a category person anyway, so I'm not even sure why I'm saying that. But I guess part of me is aware that, I don't know, of perceptions, but I don't even know. I don't know what this is even saying, but I wrote this recently. It's called My Pet Statue. My pet statue is quite a character, staring at me with that smirk all the time. My pet statue was a gift from my Aunt Kevin. My pet statue has his own pet statue, which my Aunt Larry gave me for Easter. My pet statue eats everything I give him, which is probably why he looks so plump and pleased. My pet statue gets worried about America sometimes, probably because I watch the news most evenings. And here's an example of like a short. I like these. To me, it's satisfying just to say a few words, and feel like that's enough. I wrote this down in January. I'm not the worst. I'm not the best. I'm not significant, but I exist. I wrote this one recently. I'm cussing 'cause I'm mad. Underneath my mad, I'm sad. Underneath my sad, I'm glad that I have a heart that feels and cares and dares to not just have a soul, but treasure it as my pot of gold, as my rolls and Rolex, my sacred roll. I said to life, you make no sense. Life looked at me and shrugged and said nothing. I asked life, who are you? Life said back, I am what I am not. Here's something I wrote a long time ago. I don't even know when. It didn't make a complete date on it. I kind of just dredged up stuff from my pile of papers. I once upon a time made this book of poems that I thought were my best poems, and I called it Matter Gauge. And so I considered to be, at the time, like these were like my main poems or whatever. But I'll read something from there. But I had these other things that I just wrote down that I thought, let me just go there, go where these go. As a new day dawns, full with its forgiveness and promise, I have my first meal of inevitable doom and wash it down with a mug full of regret. Then off to the races, where everyone's a loser, where you'll lose everything, however you place your bet. And I run, and I fly, and it doesn't really matter because we're all dreaming, because what is real isn't made of passing moments. It just seems real because we are asleep. Whatever love, locked under pressure, littered in parking lots, lost in the letters of mediocre self-help, comic books, splattered. The senses are pulling, drawn and quartered, left for dead. washed up on the shore, stranded here inside my head. The vultures circle, making patterns in the sky. Blood drips from my heart into a puddle, spelling, why? So I'm going to modify this one. I wrote this years ago. It's inspired by the Purple Parlor Car Wash. And the way I wrote it, I guess I sort of wrote it with like these parts that I guess would be like a chorus if it was a song. And to me, I realized along the way that actually that's kind of doesn't work. I don't know. I think it works. I've edited it, so there were always these. I don't know. It kind of hasn't been that way for a while. Maybe I haven't come this direction, I guess, so much. But there used to be like these really interesting messages on their sign at the Purple Parlor. I didn't take their actual words from the signs, but I used them as a kind of a germ of the idea for these. I kind of made up these things that the sign says. If you listen, you'll hear the corn growing down by the Purple Parlor Car Wash. There's a message on the sign, a new one every week, getting my attention like a slap across the cheek. We wash cars, God washes spirits. Pray before you pay, God is going to hear it. We clean cars, God cleans souls. It's the same price for a Chevy or a Rolls. Read your Bible if you want the facts. An extra $1.50 if you want the wax. He died for your sins, the only Son of God. You'll be looking mean when you clean your hot rod. If you listen, you can hear the corn growing down by the Purple Parlor Car Wash. So I situated this more like in the Midwest, where it's like in the midst of cornfields. The actual Purple Parlor Car Wash is not by a cornfield, but I kind of, somehow or another, I pictured it more like in the Midwest amidst cornfields, and then coming across these signs with these cryptic mixed messages about, God and washing cars. So I have more here. So these are just things I've written down, I guess that's how we all do it. I don't know. Different people have different processes. I understand that. When I was breaking down into the holy ground, blood puddles fed mosquitoes. The sky laughed tornadoes. People cried. A shaft of sun lit my insides, blew apart my heart, and made a garden with the parts. Here's a shorter one. I like these kind of shorter ones. As I've said, I'm realizing it again just by looking at this one, like something satisfying about it. Sort of like, I guess, sort of like little sutras, like almost like Buddhist little pills of, wisdom. I like the shortness of it. Wearing my scars like battle stars, serving my ego through many wars that wouldn't have been had I not gone on the attack. You're selling a product. Your motives are mixed. You're here to learn. I hope you do soon. There must have been something that happened that's from 10 years ago. Something must have happened. I must have felt somebody was like essentially trying to.
Read that again?
You're selling a product. Your motives are mixed. You're here to learn. I hope you do soon. I don't know if that's a poem, but it could become a poem. But it was an emotion. Maybe that's what poems are. So here's one that I wrote in 2020. So this is like shortly after we met, and we met. This is from 2001. And this was 4 stanzas, but it's just the first. Over time, I'm just grew out of the last 2 stanzas, so it's just the first 2. Sawed off to the root, new life emerges. Cut to the ground, you get a fresh start. Travel the wrong route, find out you're lost, just turn around and open your heart. This one is called Middle Bound. Please let me know when that's the right amount of time, okay? Because I don't want to be like.
Yeah, you've got 5 more hours. Don't worry.
Okay. Oh, here's another one that I'm editing from what it used to be. Instead of 5, it's 3. So I call this one middle bound, like bound for the middle instead of bound for, polar opposites, the top and the bottom. Sorry. Middle bound. I got a little carried away, a legend in my own mind. Thinking only of my strengths, to my faults I was blind. I see it now from this spot lying here on the ground. Gravity sucked pride's blood dry. What goes up must come down. Now lying here, it seems to me that the only way is up. I just hope I'll remember all this around halfway to the top. This one I wrote a long time ago. I called it Truth. I'm thinking recently of maybe changing it, calling it Evolve, because it deals with evolutionary, the evolutionary concept. I'm not saying that, without going into like what I think about evolution versus whatever, any of that. I'm using some of the idea of, life, of like starting in a primordial soup and becoming, a land-dwelling, more developed being. But this isn't about the physical. Climb from the slime and onto dry land. Get off the ground and make a firm stand. Think for yourself. Don't walk on all fours. Speak words of truth, but be sure they are yours. And if you believe, don't act like you know. They're not the same thing. Truth isn't a show. Will an act work? If there is a God, would the source of all things not see truth through facade? When the slime calls, will you slide or climb? When it comes to truth, this is the bottom line. All right. So I call this one Park Bench, and that my thought here was of being, I spent so much of my life like just puzzled by existence and, and as we all are, I guess. Somehow or another, I was just thinking of just sitting on a park bench, as I did a zillion times, sitting on them, sleeping on them, watching people, and just thinking about life. Through the day, the sun is at different points in the sky, but I don't see it move. Flowers open and close, but I don't see their movement, only the result. I see people moving, but not the reason. Does the sky end? What's on the other side? This place doesn't feel like home. This home feels like place. Okay. Where's that other one here? So yeah, I did like a shorter black and white version of that same zine, I guess you'd call it. Because I'm always have this relationship with these poems, and it's kind of, it shifts. So I thought, I don't know, say less, have it be less, and tried it in black and white. But that's from a long time ago. I haven't really followed through with this, you know? So I'm looking for one called Blood. Yeah, and I did blood in red ink for fun. So this is about blood, like just the physical blood. Well, not just. I mean, it's largely about the physical blood, but there's a lot more in it when I thought about it. So it's like blood is talking. It's like this is like a poem written by blood. And I guess in one sense it is. It's written by blood. I mean, it's written by blood. I'm under your skin. I'm inside your head. I'm red, white, and unseen. When I come out and into your view, you're awakened as if from a dream. I carry your feelings throughout your body. In my absence, parts fall asleep. You feel strong if I'm clean and fed. If not, then I make you feel weak. I am unwelcome outside of the shadows. People see me and they cry. I am a secret not easily kept. Too much is leaked and you die. I am a stranger sitting beside you, doing my work silently. For those who think that they are their body, I am referred to as me. I'm thicker than water, the thread which connects every one on this earth throughout time. To help you along, I'm there in your brain, but you choose how you use your mind. I am a bridge between now and the past. Your beauty and strength, physically, until you know you're a soul, not a body, your future is written in me. So shall I do one more and then we should do, you know. Okay. So I have I'm sure I'm not the only one, but a lot of times I feel like it's hard. I mean, it's hard for anyone to, for so many reasons it is hard for people to connect well, you know, in a way that really satisfies you deeply. It's been my experience anyway. It happens, I mean, it's great when it happens, but I wrote this poem called Earlids, you know, not eyelids, but earlids, because I guess I just have all this sort of pent up disappointment and frustration from my lifetime, from feeling people don't listen. I'm guilty of that. But I just, you know, obviously I'm aware of, you know, my own pain from. I shouldn't bat. I mean, some people doesn't bite. It's like, so what? That's just life, you know. Who cares? I guess I'm sensitive to stuff like that. Earlids. I got my earlids closed. They're inside of my head. You think that I can hear you, but I hear my thoughts instead. Sometimes I let in info that comes from other folks, like compliments or gossip or trivia or jokes. I keep out what I'm scared of, like all the serious stuff, like what is real or fake, or if someone calls my bluff. I sure do love my earlids. Without them, I'd be lost. I can't afford to hear you, no matter what the cost. Thank you.
I will read one poem of mine and end with a poem by Mary Oliver. So This I wrote a long time ago, and it's called She Moves. And she moves aimlessly throughout her day, crashing and banging into things. Black and blue marks cover her legs. She moves thoughtlessly from room to room, forgetting where she put her coffee or her lit cigarette. She pours another cup and lights another one. She moves absent-mindedly from chopping vegetables and baking chicken, wondering how the blasted fire started anyway, reaching for the flower to extinguish the blaze. Mother do these things when they are preoccupied. So that was a poem I wrote about my mom, observing her growing up. And this poem I actually shared in our rotunda, and it's by Mary Oliver. And I heard a story today, and I won't name names or share anything, but a father had a heart attack, and his daughter actually did CPR on him, and he died for 5 minutes, and she's working on him for 5 minutes, and he came back to life. And that kind of, and then I read this poem, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what Mary Oliver is talking about. It's called Moments, and this is by Mary Oliver, and I think it's in her book, Felicity. There are moments that cry out to be fulfilled, like telling someone you love them or giving your money away, all of it. Your heart is beating, isn't it? You're not in chains, are you? There is nothing more pathetic than caution when headlong might save a life, even possibly your own. So I just thought of that poem and that incident, and that sometimes we just really have to plunge headlong into the moment to save a life. And anyway, it was very inspirational that a daughter could save her father and knew exactly how to perform CPR at the right time. And he was dead, and now he's alive. He's recovering now in the hospital. So. Thank you. And Gordon Riggs is up next. And Gordon is our feature for April, National Poetry Month, next month. And it's the third Thursday in April. And 7 o'clock, same time, and same place at Adriance.
Cool.
Thank you.
Well, with that, featuring, thank you, Madonna. Thank you, Mark.
Yes,
for
thank
Mark.
Oh, gosh.
That was,
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, to the insight there. But in lieu of Poetry Month and being the feature for it, I just got to saddle right into this. And this is called Bad Poetry. Same as the first, but a little bit louder and a little bit worse. So picture this. A cowboy all dressed in red, blood on his saddle, blood on his, noggin. That's right. Homie don't play that. Homie don't play that bad poetry for the man. Bad poetry is like viewing the administrator in the Dead Poets Society. He didn't get his bell tolled. Does it make sense? Doesn't have to. Bad poetry is for the ears of the beholder. The bolder you get to go forward with it, the better souring it becomes to the established tastes and tone. Let iambic pentameter be damned. Bad poetry, belating, attitude, demanded, potential, objectification, transgression, revival, yearning. Politically incorrect? Burn that in your bad poetry pipe and smoke it. You already banned some of the classic books. Burn, baby, bad poetry inferno. Don't make me have to write bad poetry. The stuff that makes the bed bugs wear dentures and things that go bump in the night take the egress express because they heard it and scared the life wits out of them. Bad poetry, give me bad poetry. You still listening to this rap? You know best. Bad poetry.
That was the worst.
Success. I've known Marc for a while, and I have to say some of our experiences in gardening and such, but I think at times I've heard some of the words and some of the thoughts. They've made their way into life lessons and other considerations, perspectives. So that being said, I read to you this. It's called a thirst. A thirst of a flower dying in the desert is like mother showing her heart to the child's whim, wanting and knowing about life, humble though by circumstance, allowing by chance to grow or diminish. Both lessons, awarenesses, those journeys and experiences to shape, mold, and project or influence a change, a spark, a light bulb of an idea to flourish, held by a willingness to be or not to be, is the question asked many times on this road to somewhere, to nowhere. And to that cyclops, I am a nobody, but a somebody, yes. A rested body, no. A creative seeker to the meeker dealings in the world. The lesson now is to learn how to wield the sword and heal in knowing when not to use it, and if to, with a balance, a justice for the weaker times. To provide a moment, an opportunity to thrive, strive, etch out in clay, charcoal, canvas, or stone. Kilroy was here too. Just a passing vessel on this vast ocean, steering the rudder and holding the sails just enough to witness not a cursed albatross, but a star, a guiding light to that place, the ever forward. Thanks, guys. I wish for some kindness. I wish for some kindness. I wish for small kindness. Was the fish's thought when hooked. And a smaller one pleaded by the earthworm swallowed hook, line, and sinker. I wish for small kindness, a smile and a gentle touch. Just a little is enough, like a wave of recognition at the parlor, coffee shop, storefront, or at home. Like a wave that engulfs your body, surfing to touch the sand beach refined. I wish for small kindness, the kind that children playing know, that hop, skip, share toys, toss, swing, throw, slide, and run around and around all over again and again. I wish for small kindness. Lets me know you matter too. In your mind's heart, that compassion pumps the veins blue to red, to breathe, think, and move. I wish for small kindness, which is the fulcrum that makes the world turn. The doers and shakers forget it's in those details that matter when your day closes in. I wish for small kindness. It matters more than I know. Time to slow and to look about. That a flower blossom shows nature's beauty, revealed to resurrect from the grinding stone eyes that never see the small kindness I wish. Thank you.
You want to do it?
Can I do one more? Thanks. Learning how to do these things. All right, I'll end with this. How should we correct it? Do we do it as a family or a military unit, corrected by discipline and duty? How shall we correct it? I, for one, choose to talk about it and not hush, hush, sweet Charlotte, for the elephant is in the room. How shall we correct it? Hopefully together unanimously. How shall we correct it? Like anything else, with time, patience, and creative inspiration. So, you're an optimist. That's a big fat yes. How shall we correct it? You know, make the call to Lefty. He has a heavy hand, is quite the shoesmith. Cement ones, that is. How shall we correct it? Writing about it, discussing it, not burning it, or burying it. We use truth, not fiction here. How shall we correct it? Well, does it need correcting? There is the have and have-nots, and a give and a take, a lost and a found, a rhythm, and hopefully a reasonable rhyme. How shall we correct it? I don't know. Discernment. Between the orbit of emotion and the orbit of reason, that's how we will do it. Just settle it. How we shall correct it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think the two I'll do I know by memory. We'll see. So I dropped it. I was a high school dropout. I was a high school dropout, and I finished high school because I had to by order of a judge. But this poem that I'm going to share is reflective of my values since the time I was a teenager. When it comes to, with regard to the status quo, the sort of mainstream, societally approved path in life. At least, I mean, look, I'm born in the 60s, grew up in the 70s and 80s. I know, things are changing, or have changed perhaps, but this one is called Final Exam. I didn't go to college. I didn't want that kind of knowledge. Wisdom is what I was hoping to obtain. They further your confusion. Can you spell illusion? They teach you how to lose, but call it gain. 2 + 2 is 4. What good is knowing more? Can't you read the writing on the wall? All that's gained is lost. What will your schooling cost? They teach you how to run, but you must fall. Now in your field you may be best, but that won't help you pass the test. The end will come, and you'll be on your own. Come graduation day, you'll be on your way, thrown out by force into the great unknown. And what you know won't help you then, unless you know how to transcend. Your credentials won't mean squat when you are dead. So learn the inner art. All you need is in your heart. Don't get too caught up inside your head. And this last one is called Together. I have ended up somehow or another officiating a few weddings in my life. And I wrote this poem initially to be part of a wedding ceremony, and I've used it. I've made use of it that way a couple of times. It's called Together. Oh, I'll see if I remember it. Together. Together to depths that can't be measured. Soul to soul, our hearts made whole in search of hidden treasure. together, regardless of the weather, through fire and ice, virtue and vice. Our quest goes on whatsoever, together. Unto love, our lives are tethered, joined at the heart. At death we'll not part. Deep down we are made of forever. Thank you.